Ladies and gentlemen, actually, I mean this sincerely. I've been waiting all weekend for this moment of inspiration because I know him, I've seen him. Yes, Joseph Volkswagen.
Wow! I feel good. I knew that I wouldn't. I feel good.
But I sat through a service and it lit a fire in my soul beyond anything I had ever recognized before. And that sounds like it would be really exciting, right? But it has been, for a majority of my adult life, it was like torture. Because growing up in blue-collar family in the automotive mecca of the world outside Detroit, Michigan, and I was taught that responsibility for a man means that you get a job with a paycheck and you support your family. And I bought that hook, line, and sinker, and that passion that ignited. I spent so many years of my adult life pushing that down. The passion was to be up on stage and speaking and motivating and inspiring like I felt and I had never felt before, like I had that day in the Unity Church. And so as I went forward, and like I said, I bought it hook, line, and sinker, and I built a career in corporate America up to a vice president of sales position for a $60 million corporation with a bachelor's degree and all the stuff to match. And each one of those steps up that ladder, now my passion I continued to carry through that whole time, and I kept trying to push it down. And each one of those steps I went up that corporate ladder, the more painful it got in where my real desires and my passion and my love for my life was. And at some point, I turned to alcohol, and I turned to food, and I turned to gambling, and I turned to ways of using that. And that led to experiencing divorce in my life after a 20-year marriage. I have one son that I've been gifted with and absolutely adore, and there is a gap between him and I that comes when there's substance abuse in the family. Mary, a few years ago, I was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes. And I didn't even care to do anything different. I didn't exercise. I didn't look at my eating. I didn't look at doing things different. I was so far off of that, where that drive was for me in my life. And through this whole process, I tried bringing that forward. I've written a book, and I've tried different things to live that life, to bring that forward, and nothing came of it. And not long ago, I was in Iowa, which is where my job was, and I was driving home from work, and I just had this breakdown, just right in driving. And I just said, God, I don't know how to do this. Put any other passion inside of me, and I'll follow it with all my heart and all my soul, with everything I got. But I don't know how to do this. And nothing comes of it. No matter what I do, nothing comes forward, nothing comes of it. It was that kind of a prayer, that pleading, that I'm giving up.
And where were you with substance abuse at that point?
At that time, I was in recovery. I've been in recovery for 12 years now.
Yeah, okay.
So, thank you. So at the end of that call with
let me just.
Okay.
What I'm hearing is that even in recovery, that your whole life got better, of course,
yeah.
but the pain of the disconnect between you and your passion only grew.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you're right. It kind of ignited even more, because it's like, okay, now I'm doing these things. I can see this stuff happening, and so it's still not coming to fruition. I've written a book that's been published since then and stuff. After 30 years of struggling to live that passion while I live in corporate America and find a way to find happiness and peace and fulfillment of what that passion is telling me to do versus that, 4 weeks ago, I resigned from corporate America. And here's a picture of me doing today what I love. I don't know if you see that. Speaking and inspiring people to live their passion. And I talked to you about, thank you. And I talked about my son, Joey, who I absolutely adore. And here's a picture of him and I enjoying waterfalls. I talked about the relationship being gap based on substance abuse and things like that in our family. And Joey came down to see me a couple weeks ago, and we had an awesome time, and he left. And he called me last week. And he said, Dad, I want to come and live with you in South Carolina. And he followed up with saying, there's no place or nobody else in my life where I feel as good about the person I am is when I'm with you.